Welcome to Lovecars. It's just me. I don't need Paul. I've seen YouTube. It's me and a car. Look, this is the car I'm looking at. It's an Aston Martin. Look, there's an Aston Martin Vantage. It's got wheels. Look at those wheels. And I love this colour. This colour's great. And look at that interior. Look, it's got a steering wheel, everything. This car's probably the best car I've ever seen. But hold on a minute. There's another car. Look, I love that car as well. I love this car as much as I love the other one. And that's got a steering wheel as well. It's got a mirror. Look at that mirror.
Tiff,
it's got a mirror.
What are you doing? What are you doing with this camera? What are you thinking? This is not what we do.
I've seen it.
Seen it where?
YouTube, they all do it. I mean, if we do it like this, manufacturers will queue up to give us the latest cars. It'd be brilliant, Paul,
Tiff,
I promise you.
I worry about you sometimes. We're here with these two amazing cars. We've already done a DB11 versus a Vantage video. You remember that?
Okay.
But this is the all-new generation. This is the new DB11.
So we're making a proper film again.
Proper film.
If we make a proper film, I've got to admit that the styling of the DB11 still hasn't grown on me.
Oh, Tiff, it's
I'm not sure about these centre contours. I'm not sure about the backline.
See, it's funny, it's so subjective, cars, and that's what I love about it, but I think this looks absolutely beautiful. I think the proportions are beautiful, the whole car looks very elegant.
But this,
The new Vantage.
that I've been waiting for, is just stunning.
You were excited, after you drove that
I loved-
V12S, you were excited about driving this, so today is the day.
You should look at the front, right? I like the low grille, whereas the DB11's got that line where the number plate is that I'm not sure about, whereas I love the grille being low.
Yeah,
Look
but
at
that's
the
personality.
noses. I know, it's all styling, it's individual choices.
For me, there's no question, Aston are building some amazing cars. This is the new breed of Aston. They're building 7 new models over the next 7 years, and these are the 2 latest and greatest.
See, look, again, that horizontal line I can't grow with, whereas look this. Look at that curvature where the boot lid comes up.
Well, it's funny you mention this
Look at
because
the Venturi out the back.
it's funny because they're both so different, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're completely different. That was a test. It's called the mum test. Dr. Andy Palmer said he wanted his mother to be able to go into any Aston Martin dealership and tell the cars apart from each other, which I think is a really cute thing. And you can definitely, they're definitely Aston Martin, but they're very different.
I'm not saying the DB11 isn't pretty. It's just not quite me for some reason. I can't put my finger on little lines. Whereas that straight away.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think this new Vantage looks fantastic, but I'm a big fan of the styling of the DB11 as well.
Well, in that case, you can get in it and drive it, because I want to get in here and drive this.
Tiff, did you get my text about the race suit and helmet?
Oh yes, of course, I forgot all about that.
Good.
Yes, you said a race. Of course, I've got all my kit ready.
It's not just any race, it's a proper head-to-head for the first time
Private
ever.
track.
Private track.
Oh.
I rented the track exclusively for you and I.
Great, we can burn some rubber there. Yeah,
Both.
of course, I'm looking forward to that. But I'm still also looking forward to driving this, because this is just stunning. Love it.
So this DB11 Volante, roof off, effectively. 503 brake horsepower, identical power to the Vantage in front of me now with Tiff driving. And the colour is Skyfall Silver, named after the James Bond film. And of course, Aston Martin are so synonymous with James Bond. I've clicked this straight into Sport Plus, as you'd imagine, so I'm getting some nice little pops and crackles from the exhaust. Tiff's kind of pulling in front a little bit, so I'm going to let him go so I can talk to you about the car. Nothing's really changed because I was in a DB11 only a few weeks ago, but the main difference, without stating the obvious, is we got no roof.
So the new V8 Vantage, although we mustn't call it a V8 Vantage because they're pretending there'll never be a V12 Vantage. So the Vantage, it's a lighter, friskier, shorter wheelbase chassis. And instantly the smile comes on my face. The trouble is I knew I'd like this car, so it's going to be hard to disappoint. And what a stunning colour. It's got this special paint that hasn't even got a price tag on it. You have to go to their Q department in order to order this Veridian or Veridian green or whatever it is. Another extra on this particular car for about 1,500 quid or something is the black pack, which actually sets it off a treat. You've got those skirts around the side, the spoiler in the front, the wing mirrors, everything done in black, and I think this car just looks stunning.
Now, if you've watched any of our videos before, you know Tiff's not a fan at all about convertible cars, and to a certain degree I can understand that. You got the trade-off of it's heavier, and arguably the performance is not quite as good, but the trade-off is in reverse. You get the wind in your hair and the sun in your face, and you get to hear this. It's got to be worth it just for that alone. He's also not a fan of wheels that aren't round, and this one's got a little bit of a flat bottom. The Vantage's got even more of a flat steering wheel at the bottom, and he's not a massive fan of flappy paddles, but I love these paddles, and the fact that they're column mounted, I'm becoming much more of a fan of column mounted paddles than steering wheel mounted paddles, and these just seem to be a really beautiful fit.
I've also got a sports pack which gives me more wraparound comfortable seats, but it also gives me this very square looking steering wheel. What is it? I think it's like interior designers want you to have these stupid steering wheels, whereas most drivers want one that's round. But it's got nice paddles, even though they don't go with the steering wheel, which I prefer, but they're quite easy, a good distance from the steering wheel. Gears snap down nice and sharp. It just makes you smile all the way. It's got this big black Alcantara trim. This is the standard trim. You can only have it in black. You can have shiny leather in all sorts of colours, but on this hot sunny day, this is brilliant at not reflecting everything into the windscreen. Well, corner tightens. Oh, the nose of the Vantage really turned in beautifully there. The short wheelbase giving it a sharp turn. This is a beautifully balanced chassis.
I think it's interesting to point out the new direction of Aston Martin, this whole new century of vision that they have, where they want to introduce these new models that are all very different, even though they still have the Aston Martin heritage, and they're all very recognisable as Aston Martin, but they're all very individual as cars themselves. And you only have to look at the new DBS, along with this, the new Vantage, to see that all the cars are following a new chapter, a new direction, under what I think is a very dynamic Aston Martin team at the moment. Long may it continue.
As you'd expect, there's all sorts of driving modes. 3 for the engine and 3 for the suspension. And the engine starts with Sport, Press, I get Sport Plus, it gets a bit noisier, the gear changes are faster, and they go to Track. Now the roar of the engine, the exhaust valves are open, it sounds great. And suspension the same, Sport, Sport Plus, and Track. And you really feel the chassis getting stiffer, and Track mode brings it alive. My wife very soon complained this is too bumpy and too jarring, but it really makes you feel every inch of the road. This is sort of cruising in the absolute perfect conditions. I know Paul's going to be back there loving his roof down, the sun on his face, but this is what I love. A nice enclosed car, air conditioning keeping me cool, and a wonderful V8 engine under the bonnet.
The one thing this car's got that I remember from the DB11 AMR, these haptic feedback buttons, which I'm not a huge fan of. Other than that, the car's really set up beautifully around the driver. The last time we did a road test with the DB11 versus the Vantage with Tiff, it was freezing cold, so cold, and it was a coupe, so I'm very happy that it couldn't be a better day to have the roof down and the sun in your face and the wind in your hair.
You can't ever stop enjoying the sound of that V8, and with the track mode on, it's so responsive on the throttle. I touch the throttle and the car leaps forward. Suspension in track mode, turns neat and tight, feels the ripples, might feel a bit stiff, but then powering out of the corner and a traction control cutting in there to stop me getting into any trouble. This is just such an enjoyable car to drive. I know I haven't got 2 little seats in the back for people with tiny little legs. I don't worry about that. This Vantage is a real driver's car. I don't really need to drive that DB11, but I'm sure Paul will persuade me that I need to be out on an open-top Volante roof just to experience it. I don't, Paul, I don't. You don't have to make me. I'm very happy in this. There's a big difference. Yes, Paul's got me in his big wallowing DB11. My hair's getting ruined. And I'm sorry, I just don't get open top motoring. It's just not for me. Bit of scuttle shake round that corner where the rigidity of the car's been reduced by taking the top off. In fact, this Volante is 110 kilograms heavier than the standard DB11 Coupe, and that's something like 220 kilograms heavier than my lovely little Vantage. So this car is like a third of a ton more than the Vantage. It's got the same 510 horsepower. Doesn't work for me.
I've been following Tiff all morning driving this Vantage, and I've been a little bit jealous. So now I'm finally in it, because it does look beautiful. I have to say, it sounds pretty good as well. I think one of the things I noticed getting in here over the DB11 is you just feel very cocooned in. It's supposed to really accentuate the driving experience, to make the driver feel like he's at one with the car, but the visibility isn't fantastic going out that front left wing, and you do feel quite low because these door seals are very high, but in return for that you get the beautiful aesthetics and the look, so it's not a bad trade-off or compromise.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I love the sights of the countryside. I just don't like the smells of the countryside, to be honest. I like to be in my little air-conditioned, closed windows. This forehead's going to get sunburn. I have to put suntan lotion on. Sorry, should be talking about the car. I know the car. Well, the car is just such a transformation, and I guess it's just a different sort of car.
It feels noticeably faster, 0 to 60 3.5 seconds as opposed to 4 seconds, and top speed of 195 miles an hour instead of 187 miles an hour. But I guess is what you'd expect. It's 300 kilograms less than the DB11, and of course the Coupe as well, which just makes that a little bit more rigid. But it feels like a completely different car to drive. I love the fact that it hasn't got the haptic feedback buttons, that you've got real buttons to click and press. And apparently that's something to do with the driving style. Aston Martin expect you to not have to look down, just sort of press the buttons quickly as you're driving along, which I much prefer. The engine noise sounds fantastic. Of course, it's an AMG block now, but Aston Martin get it in a box, in a crate effectively, and then they do their wizardry in-house. They put their own ECU and exhaust and everything else that goes onto it as well. So it's, even though it's made by AMG, effectively it's like an Aston Martin unit by the time it's finished with.
See, the standard gear shifts are much slower, gentler pace. I suppose the DB11 is just a slower, gentler pace sort of car. So I'm sorry, Aston Martin, you win some and you lose some. The Vantage is the Aston Martin for me. And onto the racetrack. We'll sort him out. Oh.
You're right, Tiff?
I can hear him laughing. You think it's funny, don't you?
The mecca of banger racing, Tiff. Mendips Raceway.
Paul, these aren't Astons.
Astras, not Astons, they're Vauxhall Astras. From extremeoffroad.co.uk, available for all good hen and stag weekends. 78 horsepower.
Front wheel drive. You know I don't like front wheel drive.
Tiff, it's around a circuit. It's around a circle. It doesn't matter about front wheel drive. We're going to have a little race. We're going to have a pursuit race, a bit like in the cycling at the Olympics.
Okay.
Start in the middle, back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Go out different ways. The first one to touch the back of the other car wins the race.
Right.
You up for it?
Okay. The winner decides which Aston they drive home in.
I don't mind which one I drive. They're both beautiful.
Look, I didn't even bring any goggles. I expect to have a windscreen. I'll have to have your sunglasses.
Take these. Take these. They'll bring you good luck.
I've got Paul's sunglasses.
They will bring you good luck.
I haven't got the
my
teeth
helmet.
to match.
I've got goggles. Don't you worry about me. And I've got some lovely gloves. What gloves have you got, Tiff?
I've got racing gloves.
You can't get in the door that way. You need to jump. You need to climb.
Well, how are you supposed to get in?
Like this, Tiff. Easy as that. Watch out for the Alcantara in there.
I'm not Richard Petty. Touch. You said a touch, did you? I'll give you a touch.
Sorry. Sorry, Tiff!
He's going to regret that. He is so going to regret that.
I couldn't find first gear.
He left it in reverse. He left it in reverse.
Come on, Tiffers!
Where is he? And she's doing quite well. I might have to work a bit harder to catch than I thought. Over the bump, slowly catching. This is going to take a long time.
I'm closing in now. Oh, he's right on my tail now.
I've got him now.
Well, that all turned out rather nicely. I'm driving home in the Vantage that I love, and I'm sure Paul's more than happy with the roof down and his sunglasses back on.